When people ask, what are the top 10 languages that are being studied around the globe, they usually expect a clean list. But the first thing you need to know is this: there is no single global authority that ranks languages by how many people study them. There's no United Nations list, no UNESCO ranking, no world census of language learners. What we actually have are patterns drawn from education systems, learning platforms, migration, travel, and culture. And when you compare 2016 to 2026, those patterns tell a very clear story. The lists you're about to see are not based on just one source. They're based on multiple sources. For example, global language learning platforms like Duolingo, Preply for tutors, formal education data, especially from Europe, long-term trends in work migration and culture, and what millions of independent adult learners actually choose to learn. That is why rankings sometimes shift, especially in the middle. And that shift itself is meaningful. So here we are looking at the most studied foreign languages for more or less 10 years ago, 2016. So we have English at first, followed by Spanish, French, German, Mandarin, Chinese, Italian, Portuguese, Japanese, Arabic, and in 10th place, Russian. Around 2016, language learning was mostly institutional. These were the languages taught in schools, universities, and corporate programs. German clearly ranked higher than Japanese, and Mandarin Chinese felt like the future. Korean was still a niche language. Languages were learned as long-term investments tied to stable career paths. By this new year, in 2026, that single list model no longer works because today people learn languages for different reasons. Some learn them through education systems. Others learn them through interest in a certain culture, travel, and in general, personal choice. So instead of forcing one ranking, it actually makes more sense to show two. Here we have an education-heavy list. In other words, these are the 2026 education-heavy languages: school systems, university, migration programs, professional credentials. So English and Spanish are at the top again, followed by French, German, Mandarin Chinese, Italian, Portuguese, Japanese, Arabic, and this time Hindi in 10th place. This list looks more familiar. It reflects where languages are still tied to formal education, skilled migration, engineering, academia, and institutions. In this context, German still often ranks higher than Japanese. Mandarin Chinese remains important, even if expectations around it have changed. Now let's take a look at another list. This is a cultural heavy list. Here we see for 2026 languages that are studied for mainly cultural reasons: independent learners, media, travel, identity, lifestyle. Again, at the top, English, Spanish, but now French, Japanese, German, Italian, Mandarin Chinese, Portuguese, and Hindi. This is where the shift becomes obvious. Among independent adult learners, Japanese often overtakes German. Korean rises dramatically, almost entirely driven by culture. Italian stays strong, not for power, but for pleasure. These languages are learned because people want them in their lives. So, what does this shift actually mean? The question isn't whether Japanese is fourth or fifth, or whether German ranks higher in one data set. The real shift is this. In 2016, languages followed institutions. In 2026, languages follow people. Culture, mobility, and identity now drive language learning as much as or more than economics. So if you're choosing a language today for this new year, 2026, don't chase a single ranking. There isn't one. Ask instead, how do I want to do this language? Who do I want to connect with? And what kind of life do I want to be part of? Because in 2026, languages aren't ladders. They're doors to new cultures, societies, friends, experiences, ways of looking at the world. I wish you all the best in your language studies in this new year. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next video. If you would like to know more about my experience over the past 5 decades, learning and using more than 30 languages around the globe, with adventures in 101 countries so far, then please visit my website, polyglotdreams.com. There you will find my memoir, A Life in 30 Languages, translated in various languages and integrated with audio and dual readers to offer a great way to improve your target languages.